Hi everyone, I'm Klarman. I'm the CEO and co-founder of bloXroute Labs, and I'm going to talk with you about something slightly technical. However, it should be clear for everyone. I have a PhD in computer science, and I sometimes can't understand some of the presentations here, and I hate it. So I'm going to talk about something, it should be interesting for everyone, and it should be very, very clear. So, the promise of bloXroute is to allow practically all blockchains out there to scale. And it doesn't matter if they're proof of work or proof of stake or if they're permissioned or permissionless. It can be scaled, even those which are already being, like existing one, already in use, like Ethereum and Bitcoin. And the idea that you can scale these blockchains even without changing their consensus and without changing their protocol. So, who are we? Who are the people behind bloXroute? Which means really, why should we listen to this guy? Well, bloXroute was founded by a team of experts from Cornell and Northwestern University. My co-founders include Professor Emin Gun-Sirer, the leading crypto expert. I assume most of you know him. Professor Kuzmanovic at Northwestern University is a net neutrality expert. Soumya Basu is the creator of the Falcon network, a relay network used in Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash for the past 2.5 years. And we came together to build bloXroute. So before explaining what is it that we do, I want to talk about the need for scalability. Who said that we need scalability for blockchains? Well, Bitcoin aims to remove financial middlemen, right? Banks and credit card companies. But it can process 3 transactions per second. Well, I'm in the way for this guy. Well, credit card companies are doing today 5,000 transactions per second on average. They peak much, much higher, like online shopping sites like Alibaba and Amazon peak at hundreds of thousands of transactions per second. Ethereum aims to add smart contracts and dApps that do micropayment and these kind of stuff. It can do 10 transactions per second when we need, at the minimum, hundreds of thousands of transactions per second. So this is the starting point of why do we need scalability. So what is the scalability problem? If you're in the blockchain space or the crypto space, you probably heard the term the scalability problem, which is pretty much how can we take a blockchain and process so many transactions per second. Well, the problem is that in the case of Bitcoin, Bitcoin adds a 1 megabyte block to the blockchain every 10 minutes. But a 1 megabyte block, thank you. A 1 megabyte block has room something like to 1900 transactions. So the blockchain adds 1900 transactions every 10 minutes, which means on average, every second, 3 transactions are added to the blockchain. This is why Bitcoin is processing 3 transactions per second. If you want to do more transactions per second, it should be very easy. Why don't you do just like very, very large blocks? Why a 1 megabyte block of transactions? Do a 10 megabyte block, or a 100 megabyte block, or a gigabyte block. And why every 10 minutes? Do this every minute, every 6 seconds. It's very easy to add more transactions to the blockchain. So it should be fairly simple. But there is a problem, and it's a networking problem. If you try to do very large blocks in a blockchain, then now if I'm a miner, and I assume most of you have some understanding of how blockchains work, in blockchains, every so often, somebody adds a new block. If I am a miner of a new block, and I just mined a new one, if I created 10 megabyte block instead of a 1 megabyte, I have to send it to everyone. Now I have to send 10 megabytes to my peer, who has to send 10 megabytes to his peer. And the time it's going to take for me to make this block to reach everyone is going to increase by a factor of 10. So I'm going to, for the time's sake, I won't delve deep into that. But if you try to do very large blocks, they take a very long time to reach everyone, and the blockchain has more forks. That means that it cannot decide which transaction happened and which didn't. So what are we doing at bloXroute? bloXroute is a layer 0 solution, right? Blockchains are the layer 1, they're a consensus. What can we do there? People are trying to build layer 2 solutions, which are very, very hard to do. We're doing something much more simpler. We're doing a layer 0. We're a faster internet for blockchains. We can propagate gigabyte blocks. We can propagate very, very large blocks to everyone in a provably neutral manner. So what we do is simple. We create a backbone infrastructure for blockchains, and we allow all blockchains, new one and existing ones, whether permissionless, whether they use proof of work or proof of stake. We built a system which A, can propagate blocks 1,000 times faster, and B, it's provably neutral. Also C, it's in production, it's ready. You can use it today. So this is what we do at bloXroute, and this is how we solve the scalability problem. And I hope this lightning talk allowed you to understand slightly more what is the scalability problem, where the bottleneck lies at the network layer, and what are we doing in order to try to help it. Thank you.